Hello YouTube, it's MacD98 and today I'm going to do a 2013 Apple products prediction video. First up is the MacBook Pro line. What I think will happen here is the MacBook Pro, the older generation from 2008, will be discontinued after 5 years, and the only MacBook Pro that will be in the line will be the Retina MacBook Pro. It will come in a 13 and a 15-inch versions like there is now, and the difference is they will be getting the 4th generation Intel Core i series Haswell chips. The RAM will stay the same. I'm sure that there will be a small advancement in the graphics chips, like whatever Haswell has in it, and the storage price upgrades will be dropped in price, and just the entire computer in general will be dropped in price, because since there's no more non-Retina MacBook Pros, the Retina ones have to fill that price point. Probably will be a little bit more expensive than the non-Retinas now, but definitely a lot less than the $21.99 asking price of this generation. One other thing that will be making the appearance in the MacBook Pro with Retina display is Sharp's new IGZO display. Now this is going to be in all Retina Apple products in 2013, but pretty much the advantages are it has lower power and it can have more pixel density if Apple chooses to do that. However, the 2880 by 1800 display will probably be sticking around for a little while. This year, I think we'll only be seeing a spec upgrade on the MacBook Air with Intel's 4th generation Haswell chips and maybe a few other minor tweaks. At this point in time, it's not really economical for Apple to fit a Retina display into a MacBook Air, but possibly next year. And of course, there's also that slight chance that since the MacBook Air is that the current design is in its 3rd year now, we might be seeing a design revision, but I really think it's only going to be minor spec upgrades. The price points will stay the same at $99 for the 11 and $11.99 for the 13-inch. For the Mac Pro line, Tim Cook has already assured us that after a few years they are finally updating the line of the Mac Pro. This is the last Apple really pro desktop computer, and I think that after having almost 10 years with the same case design, they will finally be switching it up a little bit, maybe removing the handles, making it smaller, definitely be getting whatever Intel's new server grade processors are, and I think that this is probably going to be a great upgrade to satisfy all the pro users that use like Final Cut X and Aperture and other pro programs. So definitely look for that at WWDC 2013, because we will be seeing a huge innovation in the pro desktop market. Since we just saw a huge iMac redesign in October, I think the 2013 iMac will only be seeing minor spec upgrades, such as Intel's 4th generation Haswell chips, better graphics cards, RAM upgrades, storage upgrades, and maybe a $100 drop in price point. We will not be seeing Retina displays on the iMac this year because of how many pixels would actually have to go into that. I think the Mac Mini probably will only be getting a spec upgrade this year with Intel's 4th generation Haswell chips, as well as maybe RAM and storage upgrades. I don't think we'll be seeing a drop in price point anytime soon, or really anything else. The Mac Mini is pretty much at a point where they don't need to redesign it so often. Next up is the iPads. With the full-size iPad, the iPad 2 will be dropped from the line, and the iPad 4 will be taking its place at the $399 price point, and the 5th generation iPad will retain the A6X processor, because that's plenty fast. It will be getting Sharp's IGZO display, allowing it to be thinner and lighter, and actually retain a lot of the iPad mini design cues. So that's really the big thing. There might be smaller changes, such as a better camera, or maybe they'll wow us with something. Another thing that will happen is the stereo speakers. Well, stereo speakers, because this one has 2 speakers in it, but it's not actually stereo. This will get the same design, and it will probably have 32, 64, 128 at $499, $599, $699, and then the 4G LTE versions will be the same. It would be 629, 729, 829, and then AppleCare Plus. You add 100 to it. With the iPad mini, I think this is going to be the big one in the iPad lineup this year. I think finally, with Sharp's new display technology, it will be able to get the 2048 by 1536 display, same as the big size iPad, but in a smaller package, making it around 326 ppi, which is equivalent to the iPhone. So the screen will look really nice on it. And it will probably get the A6X or maybe even the A7, just because the A7 might have enough power to drive a Retina display. And if the A7 has enough power to drive the Retina display, this will also be getting it. This probably will stay at 1632.64, and the price point will stay the same. I'm not sure if the first generation will be more dropped to maybe like a $229, maybe $250 price point, but we'll have to see how that works out. Overall, I think the iPad is Apple's really post-PC device, and they'll definitely continue to be revamping the lineup. This might be the biggest one, and I think they will either come out in either A, March, or B, September, October. So we'll just have to see how that pans out. For the 2013 lineup, the iPhone 4 will be discontinued, the 4S will become free, and then the iPhone 5 will become the $99 version, and then the 5S will become the $199 to $499 version. The iPhone 5S will share a very similar design to the iPhone 5, just like the 4S shared the design to the 4, and the 3GS shared the design of the 3G. And like the S variants of Apple products, or iPhones for that matter, all the improvements are on the inside. So my prediction is that the screen will be changed from a LCD IPS to a Sharp IGZO display, just like the iPads and the MacBook Pros this year. And the processor will be upgraded to the A7, just like the iPhone 5 was on the A6, the 4S was on the A5, and the iPhone 4 was on the A4. So it just follows in that line. Another thing that will be changing is the back camera, and it's still going to probably be around 8 megapixels, but the aperture will be aperture 2 instead of aperture 2.4. And what this will allow you to do is it will allow you to have much greater picture quality in the same amount of megapixels, because megapixels aren't exactly all important to the picture quality. It's more of the optics, and Apple really loves to tell us about the optics that go inside the Apple products. Besides that, I think that we're probably going to see 1 or 2 brand new features from the iPhone, and but I think most of the improvements are coming from iOS 7 this year, which I'll talk about in a second. So besides that, I really don't think we'll be seeing that much improvement to the iPhone 5S, more of just a speed increase, camera upgrade, just like the iPhone 4S was from the 4. So the last up is the iPods. So I'm just going to go ahead and review. 2013, I think the shuffle is going to stay the same, because really I think it's improved all that it can. Apple tried improving it once, no one liked it, so they eventually went back to a similar form factor to this one. This is the second generation one. For the Nanos, I think that there's probably going to be a storage increase and a drop in price, although design, I think they did pretty well on this year. I think they hit it for about 2 years. For the Classic, however, I think that after it being around since 2001, I think they're finally going to discontinue the Classic. I mean, they haven't updated it since 2009, and I don't think they have plans on doing it. So I think that 2013 will be the death of the iPod Classic. Now, the reason why I think the iPod Classic will be discontinued is because of the iPod Touch. We saw last year that the sales of the 17-inch MacBook Pro, they weren't very high, and so Apple decided to get rid of them because they weren't being bought enough. I think the Classic is the same idea. The Touch goes up to 64 gigs and possibly next year even 128 gigs. And the Classic only goes up to 160. Plus, if you add in the fact that iTunes Match, you can store up to 25,000 songs, and iCloud, you can store all these pictures and videos, why would anyone go for a iPod Classic when for $50 more, you get a 32 gig iPod Touch? Now, as I said before, the iPod Touch could go up to 128 gigabytes this year, making it completely unnecessary to buy a iPod Classic. Now, in the iPod Touch, I think that just like last year, I do not think that there will be very many upgrades. If there is, it probably might just be a small spec bump going up to the A6, because I think that the iPod Touch will always be a processor generation behind, but it's hard to tell. So, as far as I know, either A, there's going to be a minor spec upgrade, or B, they're going to drop the price. And now, I'm almost positive they're going to drop the price, because I think they're going to discontinue the 4th generation that you see right here. It has the A4 processor, which is now it's getting into its 3rd year now, and I think iOS 7 is going to be the last operating system to support it. So, really, I think that the 5th generation Touch, right here, will be the only Touch in the lineup, and it probably will start around $229, which I think is a very fair price for this one. Now, because the 32 gig right now is $299, I think that they will be making a 16 gigabyte version of this one, just to make sure they can fill the $229 price point. So really, I think that's what they're going to be doing this year with the iPods. Something to really look forward to in 2013 is the release of iOS 7. I think that this is probably going to be one of the more important iOS updates in history so far, just because the Scott Forstall, which was the person that used to design all this stuff, was fired earlier this year. And in his place, Jonathan Ive, which does industrial design, and Craig, which does the Mac OS stuff, both of them are taking over iOS, so I think a lot of features from the Mac will be brought over, and also the amazing designs from Jonathan Ive will be brought over. Since Jonathan Ive stated that he hated all the fake leather in iOS, all of that will be gone and replaced with very clean lines. And I also think we'll be getting some pretty awesome new features, such as widgets and like live tiles, something like live tiles from Windows. I actually think that the iOS 7 is going to have a design interface kind of like Windows 8, just because it has very clean lines, like Jonathan said iOS 7 would bring. So this is definitely one of the more vague information I have on iOS 7. It's not exactly for sure what's going on, but I know that this is definitely something to look forward a lot to. I hope that you enjoyed my 2013 Apple prediction video. Subscribe, because I probably will be updating through each product release of what's going on. I also be doing unboxings, reviews of all these new products that will be coming out in 2013. So again, as I said, subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, because everyone should know what will be coming out in the world of Apple in 2013. This has been a Mac 298 production. Goodbye.